lines of code. Let's listen.
Hi, buddy. So we're just jumping in, just turning something off, discussing to turn something off. I don't know where we currently are at the moment. And then the stream's decided to freeze up on me. Lovely. Let's make sure everything's fine. But then again, I have technically got like a bunch of things running at the same time. Let's give this a bit of a refresh.
Taking your hands off of the wheel. At this point forward, Perseverance would be on her own to execute entry, descent, and landing over 500,000 lines of code. Let's listen in.
Go. Propulsion. Go. Art lead. Go. Team chief. Go. Ace. Go. Launch cruise phase lead. Go. Deputy mission. Go. EDL phase lead. Go. Mission assurance. Mission assurance is go. Chief engineer.
If you need me to turn the volume up of everything as well, please let me know.
Go. Project manager.
Make sure everything's fine.
Mission manager. All stations are go.
I'm trying not to interrupt them as well.
Copy flight. Go for transmitter off.
We are currently
There you have it, Raquel. We have deemed
about an hour away from
entry, descent, and landing on her own.
an hour and a half away from the actual landing
Perseverance
itself.
is now operating on its own as it cruises closer to Mars. To help explain,
It's still about 9,000 miles away from Mars, though, so we're about an hour away before it actually begins to even touch down, I believe.
This is our 5th rover sent to Mars since 1997. Can you tell us how Perseverance is going to kickstart a new era?
Wow, this is such an important day today, and it
That is
really
big.
is.
See if I can make
the
it
beginning
bigger
of a new
now.
era
Might have
in
to
the
drop the
sense that we're
quality down a
going
little
from
bit,
exploration,
just for the sake of the stream.
experiments on rovers,
There we go.
looking around, doing analysis, to the sample return phase, in which we're not only looking around, looking at the geology, but really turning our rover into a robotic geologist and astrobiologist, collecting samples that we will bring back to Earth. And for us, of course, those are where the best laboratories are of all of humanity. Some of them still remain to be explored by some that are not yet in the science community.
So I wish I'd lined something
What we're
up to,
looking for, that's that
hold on a
new
moment.
phase. The other element that I want to talk about is the amazing technologies that are there. And of course, one of my favorites
I wish I'd
Ingenuity helicopter, this in search
queued
of
up
this
some things I could have done
extraterrestrial
today in
right
terms of like
rudder
playing
slow
some
mo,
Mars-related
control
games and
flight
stuff
for
like
the
that, but
first
I think
time elsewhere right
my
now.
system probably wouldn't be able to
And
handle
we
one,
have
the
a
stream
student
plus
question
the
on
game,
video
and
for
then
you from
me
Macy.
streaming as well. I think we'll probably run
Hi,
into
my name
some
is Macy
issues
Lansdale.
with that, which is
My
a
question
bit of a shame.
is anyone
Plus, I haven't
alive
downloaded
Mars?
them.
Thank you.
So that would have been
Well,
another.
Macy,
That
I'm
would
so
have been something
glad
else
for your
I've
question.
run
It's a
into.
question I ask myself. Is anything alive there? And frankly, at the surface where we're going right now with Perseverance,
Bring these
we
guys
do not
back up to
believe
center
there's
view.
anything alive right there because of the radiation that's there. It's chilling cold, and there's really no water there. But guess what? We think that 3 billion years ago, this looked like a stream that you may see on Earth. And frankly, a lot more similar than Earth, with water with a magnetic field, just like the Earth with an atmosphere. And the question is, at that time, 3 billion years ago, were there single-cell organisms, just of the type that developed on Earth? So is there life on Mars overall? We don't know. But where we're going right now, we're really looking for ancient life, and that's what we're so excited about.
Thank you for your time today, Thomas. And thanks to everyone who has been using the hashtag Countdown to Mars. Here are some of the photos that you've sent in so far. Let's take a look.
I don't think
Now,
I would qualify.
please keep sharing with us how you are watching this moment today. For now, let's go back to Swati for an important update to what's going on in mission control as
I
we
could
get
do a
closer
selfie.
to another milestone.
Hi, Raquel. This next milestone is a communications poll. So during landing, not only will Perseverance talk directly to Earth, But we'll also be talking
Without
to
the
two
selfie
spacecraft that are currently orbiting Mars, the Mars
Oh.
Reconnaissance Orbiter and the MAVEN spacecraft. This poll is to confirm with the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter spacecraft and the MAVEN spacecraft teams that they are ready and on track to support the relay from Perseverance. Let's listen in.
Shut up. Ja, foto. That should be.
EDL comm flight.
It's the wrong way.
Flight. Have you performed the comm check and readiness of the orbiters?
We have performed the voice check and the readiness poll and can confirm that MRO, MAVEN, EDA, Radio Science 1 and 2, UHF,
Yeah, we'll get that posted.
PSN, and EDL GDS are all ready to support.
Copy, EDL comm.
Don't be sending him,
So we
taking any
just
more
heard
photos.
that we have confirmation from each of the different orbiters and all of their support equipment on the ground that they are ready and are on track to support the relay from Perseverance.
Great, thank you, Swati. And we just heard that communications readiness poll, which means we are ready to relay the data Perseverance will send to get a better idea of what the rover looks like as it approaches Mars. We
Ooh.
have a NASA program called EYES. The visualization lets anyone watching track Perseverance. Here's how the program works.
Follow Perseverance on its journey to the surface of the red planet with eyes on the solar system. From your desktop or mobile device, go to eyes.nasa.gov.
Okay, I'm on a different thing over here as
Now
well.
You're with Perseverance in real time through every step of EDL, entry, descent, and landing.
What was that?
This
Eyes.
interactive experience lets you ride along from whatever perspective you choose. Click and drag.
Eyes.
Scroll.
Dot.
Check out the descriptions and
NASA?
explanations to increase your EDL expertise. Experience every entry, descent, and landing event precisely designed and executed to land Perseverance safely on Mars.
Okay, it's not that one
The
then.
EYES experience is based on predictive data, but during this broadcast you'll see a different visualization called Ranger, and it's based on the real communication.
Get it back up and then hopefully we'll see the
from Perseverance
thing
in
for it
real
again.
time. This is the visualization the team will follow as data fills their screens while monitoring the health of Perseverance on its nerve-wracking course to another successful Mars landing. Enjoy the ride.
Mars facts!
You are watching live Mars landing commentary. Stepping outside mission control to talk to us is Perseverance system engineer Matt Smith. Thanks for joining us today, Matt.
Hey, Raquel.
Well, coming from mission control, we are going to hear terms related to landing. Can you help us understand what some of them mean?
Sure, definitely. One thing you'll hear a lot about is telemetry. So telemetry is just our way of talking about data that's coming from the spacecraft and telling us important things like temperatures on the vehicle,
I have
pressure,
no idea what
how much
the,
fuel we have left, and other things that we need to understand
Well,
for
the hashtag
health and
would be.
safety of the vehicle. You'll also hear the word nominal, hopefully. Nominal means everything is
Come back to
expected,
that in a moment.
everything is okay.
Let's
Good to
switch
go.
the thing over to
Hear
this one.
also
Let's
a
try
lot
and figure
about
out what that
velocity
hashtag
and
is. What is the
deceleration.
hashtag on
So
here?
velocity is just our speed combined with the direction we're going, and deceleration is our slowing velocity. So we're coming in at over 12,000
Well, I'm on Twitter.
miles per hour, and we're going to slow down to a nice, comfortable 2 miles per hour at landing,
John,
and that's our deceleration. Speaking of landing, you may hear a couple important terms at landing itself. One is RIMU stable. So the RIMU is a device on the rover that measures the rover's orientation and whether
Will that help
it's
me
moving.
find something?
So we want a nice stable landing spot without
there we
any
go.
motion. You'll also hear UHF stable, hopefully. UHF stable refers
Download
to
the app to get
good
started.
telecommunications link with the rover and indicates that we've had a good separation between the descent stage and the rover after the sky crane maneuver. Finally, you may also hear Tango Delta nominal, or touchdown nominal. That means we've touched down.
Just mute these guys. Well, I'll mute it for me. You can keep listening to them. Experience Earth and our solar system, the universe, and spacecraft, exploring them with immersive apps format,
one of my
PC and
takeaways
mobile
is that
devices.
you can almost never
So I
be
don't know if
careful when
that's
it comes
actually
to
what
Mars.
I'm
You definitely
looking
can't
for.
Take Mars
But
for
I'll leave
granted.
that.
We've
I'll leave
checked
that
and
there.
double-checked and triple-checked everything
Timeline,
on our way to Mars.
participate.
And,
Let's get on
even though we've done
to
this once
Twitter.
before using the sky crane technique on the Curiosity rover,
and see what the
I think
hashtag
everyone's going to have their, everyone's going to hold their breath until we're on the surface of Mars this time around.
trending.
And we have a social media question coming in.
Countdown to
Noah
Mars.
on Instagram asks, how complicated is the automated landing sequence
go.
and who wrote the code?
Yeah, it's quite complicated. The automated landing software needs to do literally hundreds of things all on its own, just right with sub-second timing accuracy. And it's the result of many hundreds of people over many years.
Man, that took a while for it to show. You think that'd been like one of the first things that showed
the
up?
Perseverance landing today at Jezero Crater.
Great. Thanks for your time today, Matt, and good luck.
Thanks.
Boom.
Now, landing on Mars is hard. Landing on Mars during a pandemic is even harder. The team behind the Perseverance rover faced one of its biggest challenges when the coronavirus pandemic struck. Here's how they kept the mission going.
Let's get that back up so we can actually see what's going off.
When the pandemic struck, the future was certainly unknown. It was like walking into a blind, dark alley. You didn't know what was there, what was in front of you, what you were going to have to deal with.
It's something that nobody expected. It's something nobody could plan for.
So we all were asked to start working from home.
Rather than your first priority being mission success and getting to the launch pad, your first priority immediately gets displaced, and it's now the safety of the people.
And it took a lot of work to put stuff together in order to keep momentum going, to keep people working safely, keep them healthy, and to keep the project on schedule.
We called the effort Mars 2020 Safe at Work, and the objective was to keep the team as safe or safer than they would be if they were not working. You know, putting a spacecraft together that's going
I
to
wonder
Mars
if I can get
and
the
not making a
countdown
mistake,
up in the
it's hard no
corner
matter what.
somewhere.
Trying to do it during the middle of a pandemic, it's a lot harder.
And liftoff. As the countdown to Mars continues, the perseverance of humanity launching the next generation
Don't
of
think
robotic
this is gonna
explorers to
land.
the Red Planet.
Certainly
I
never done something
wonder
like
if
this
I
before.
can.
Try to lead a team that's flying a spacecraft on the way to Mars while getting ready for landing, while doing it all from home.
There's no doubt that working in isolation.
It's funny. I can edit the whole thing, but I can't.
Physical isolation
Doesn't
from
seem to
everyone
have
else is a challenge.
a link.
We had to rethink
What's
and
that?
redesign what it meant to operate a spacecraft in flight when we couldn't all be in the same room in mission control, seeing the data come down from Perseverance.
It was a major change going to that, looking at everyone on a screen instead of in person.
Doesn't look
Because of
like
the
there's a
pandemic,
way
you
to
can't,
actually take that little
just pop
section.
over your cubicle wall and talk to the person next to you.
It's definitely been a challenge to figure out how to communicate and get everything done remotely, but we've managed to make it work.
We are explorers. Our job is to go into the unknown. And this is just another example of the unknown.
We're really doing something that's transformative and trying to understand whether or not life evolved on another planet. That's the fundamental
Can
objective
you
of this
imagine
mission.
that if
We're all still connected
after
by
all
this
this
incredible mission and this wonderful team
turns
that
out
we
there
have
is
the
life
opportunity to be a
or
part
has
of.
been
So
life there, that would
keeps at least me going.
Pretty much everybody that I've talked to that's associated with the mission has said
I
the
just
same
want this
thing,
bit. I
which
don't
is
want it to
you
keep
could not have
cycling.
come up with a better name than Perseverance.
It's an amazing serendipity that we get to persevere through working on Perseverance.
Ah, okay. I want the countdown clock. But I don't think it's going to let me have the countdown clock.
Joining us now is Perseverance Deputy Project Manager Matt Wallace. Matt, just how ambitious is this mission, and how does this team stay on track with unexpected challenges like the pandemic?
Well, it's a very ambitious mission. You know, we're carrying not only a host of new, extremely capable science instruments to do that science mission that we've talked about, but also a number of technology experiments to provide feed-forward information into the next set of robotic explorers or even human exploration of Mars. So there's a lot for us to do. We look a lot like Curiosity, but in fact we're carrying 50% more payload down to the surface of Mars, and so it's been a big challenge. You know, and it was particularly challenging.
Countdown to Mars
struck. Came at a critical time in our processing. We were just months away from launching. We're trying to essentially get the spacecraft assembled, do the final tests. Did not have a lot of margin in our schedule. And our focus just entirely shifted from that to keeping the team safe and keeping their families safe.
2, 1,
and to do that quickly,
0.
to make the adjustment quickly. I think you know, we got through it with a lot of help. A lot of people stepped up to make it happen. The team was tenacious, and we managed to get it launched and fly it to Mars. It's and
6,
you know,
5,
thanks to a lot of help.
4,
and Matt,
3,
just how large
2,
is the team that
1,
worked on Perseverance?
0.
It's a big team.
A
couple thousand people here just at JPL, in fact, have worked on the mission. And then almost every other NASA center has contributed in some significant and critical way as well.
I want to try and get it properly lined
over
up.
1,000 industry partners that have provided hardware into this mission.
So, where are we?
44 different states, 60 different cities,
3,
and of course we
2,
have international contributions
1.
from Europe and many other international
Right.
providers as well. So it's a big team. It's taken a lot of people to get us.
Link copied, so I should
This is the most
hopefully
difficult landing site ever
be able
attempted.
to
Now,
add
why do you
this
think Perseverance is ready to land in
to the
Jezero
stream
Crater
now. So browser.
Jezero is tough. I mean, it's scientifically fascinating because it's got a lot of things like craters and you know, rock fields, and cliffs and sand dunes and that sort of thing, which are great for the science community. That's the type of features they're looking for to learn more about Mars.
Yes,
but they're all learning
bit
for us.
Tad bit
and
slow.
So we've had to add
Can I
new
edit that?
technology to remote navigation, which is the ability essentially to divert away from hazards.
Yes, I can.
But
Right.
we have taken this system through the same types of paces that we have in previous
9.
missions. We use the same techniques, the same best practices for engineering verification, and in many cases we've used the same people. This, in fact, is my 5th Mars rover mission, and I'm not alone. There's other people on the project in the same situation. So
missed it.
You know, the team has
sliding
given
over.
everything they've gotten to
2,
put it all
1,
out
0.
there and
There we
make
go.
it successful.
An extra 9 to go with it.
Thanks, Matt, and good luck on your 5th mission.
Thank you very much.
Well, Jezero Crater is a location on Mars that has intrigued scientists for years. Let's head over to Marina to learn more about the science goals of the mission.
That's right, Raquel. Here to explain why we want to go there is Deputy Project Scientist Katie Stack Morgan.
God damn it.
Thanks, Marina. Glad to be here.
Now, Perseverance is landing on Mars at the Jezero Crater. Why is it that you and the team chose this particular area?
Stop sliding away!
Scientists believe Jezero Crater is one of the best places on Mars and possibly the entire solar system
4,
to look for
3,
signs of ancient life.
2,
Jezero
1.
contained an ancient lake and has within it one of the best preserved
Right.
ancient delta
That
deposits
should be it.
on the surface of Mars. And deltas form when a river enters a relatively
4,
open
2,
body of
1.
water.
Yeah,
like
that
an
should be
impact
it.
crater,
We
and
should be
it
synced up
dumps
now, so
sediment
we've got
that is
countdown to
carrying
Mars.
into the lake. And we know based on
Bloody hell.
lakes here on Earth that they're great places to
That took
concentrate
some
and
doing.
produce
I don't want to
organics
touch
and
it now.
support microbial life. We're also excited because Jezero
Do want to
exposes
copy it
rocks
though.
that
In fact, I can just go
are
over
between
here. I
3.5
can
to
go
more than
like
4 billion years old and represent a variety of different geological processes.
Browse.
This might be a tough choice,
Add.
but what do you think would
That
be the
one.
most rewarding
Browser 2.
scientific discovery that we expect to get from this mission?
Yes, hands down, I think the most
Slightly
rewarding discovery
not
I think we
accurate,
can make with
not
Perseverance would be
properly
finding a truly
there, but we're
compelling
getting there.
ancient biosignature on Mars. The rocks in and around
At least
Jezero
now we've got
Crater
like a
record
timer for
period of
everything
time
as
when
well.
life first arose in the solar system, and we have the opportunity with Perseverance to study the
Close all
evolution
this
of the
off.
planet from a once habitable world likely capable of supporting ancient life to the cold, barren planet we know Mars is today.
And why do you think, Katie, it's so important to find out if there really is or was ancient life on Mars?
Well, the question of whether there's life beyond Earth is one of the most fundamental and essential questions we can ask. And our ability to ask this question and develop the scientific investigations and technology to answer it is one of the things that make us as a species so unique. And based on everything we know about Mars in the past, it absolutely
Studio mode,
should
so I'm
have
not
been
going to mess
capable
this
of
up.
supporting ancient life. So we can find out an answer to the question,
And then
where there
if
were
I
habitable
go-
environments, was there life? And studying the possible emergence of life on ancient Mars can also help us better understand the conditions that led to life on our
Doesn't
own
need
planet.
suppose yeah, it could do. Yeah, it's
That's
fine.
so fascinating, Katie. Now we're going to take a question
Then what I
from a
want to
student,
do.
Vara.
Hi, I'm Laura, and my question is, why was Mars able to sustain lakes and rivers ages ago, but cannot now? Isn't it cold enough to make water, and isn't it always? Thank you.
Yeah, that is such a great question. And one of the things that protects our atmosphere here on Earth and allows liquid water to be stable on our own planet is the fact that we have a magnetic field protecting that atmosphere. We think that Mars lost its magnetic field way back billions of years ago and left the atmosphere exposed to things like solar winds and cosmic rays that basically blew that atmosphere away. And once that happened, liquid water wasn't stable on the surface of Mars anymore. It was too cold and the pressure was too low. And so now Mars is not capable of supporting liquid water and likely not capable of supporting life at its surface.
Well, thank you so much to Vara for that great question. And a big shout out to all the kids that are watching out there today. And thank you so much to you, Katie, for joining us. That was so great.
Thank you.
Now sending it back over to you, Raquel.
Thanks, Marina. Earlier, we were able to catch up with the communication systems engineer, Chloe Sakier. She helps us break down the system used to track Perseverance during landing.
The communications
Try not to
infrastructure
interrupt
supporting
too much.
Perseverance's landing is quite complex. We've rallied a truly global network of relay and communications assets to help us capture and record those precious minutes of entry, descent, and landing, or EDL. We receive a stream of engineering telemetry via these communication assets that helps us see and understand exactly what's happening. Perseverance sends direct-to-Earth X-band tones, each of which provides us with indications of critical entry, descent, and landing events. During entry, descent, and landing, we have two Mars orbiters listening for the ultra-high frequency, or UHF, signals from Perseverance. These orbiters relay these signals to deep space network stations on Earth, Madrid in Spain, and Goldstone in California. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, or MRO, has reconfigured its software to perform a type of relay called bent pipe. This will provide us with near real-time telemetry during entry, descent, and landing. We have coverage from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter from just before entry to a few minutes after landing. The telemetry we receive will be delayed by the time it takes light to travel from Mars to us.
Should be, yeah, I can move that around
Additionally,
now.
The Mars Atmosphere and Volatile Evolution spacecraft, or MAVEN, is recording these UHF signals and will be relaying that recording hours after landing. MAVEN will be covering us from around the time of cruise stage separation until a few minutes after landing. We also receive what we call heartbeat tones, which are indications that the spacecraft is alive and progressing throughout entry, descent, and landing. It's important to note that while unexpected, we could lose our communication links and still land safely. Because Perseverance is doing entry, descent, and landing completely autonomously, she doesn't need our help to joystick the landing. The communication links give us added visibility.
And you can see Chloe hard at work inside Mission Control right now. Perseverance's landing might look like the system the Curiosity rover used back in 2012, but landing on Mars is difficult. There's always a risk involved. Here's what needs to happen for Perseverance to touch down safely in Jezero Crater.
Everything needs to
Nothing
go
can be taken
right.
for granted when you get to Mars. There's a lot of things we just don't know.
Space always has a way of throwing us curveballs and surprising us.
I mean, until we
Sure
get
it
the data that
is.
says we're on the ground safely, I'm going to be worried that we're not going to make it.
Entry, descent, and landing is often referred to as the 7 minutes of terror. Because it takes about 7 minutes to get from the top of the atmosphere of Mars to the ground safely.
The spacecraft has to do all of this by itself.
There are many things that have to go right to get Perseverance onto the ground safely.
There's a lot counting on this. This is the first leg of our sample return relay race. There's a lot of work on the line.
Starting about 10 minutes before atmospheric entry, we get rid of really the space.
I don't know what that noise was.
Of the rover that's been supporting us.
We
It's
come
the camera.
Streaming in to the Martian atmosphere at 12 to 13,000 miles per hour.
And the heat shield is what dissipates all that initial energy through friction.
Then the damn camera just died.
Flying itself through the atmosphere. It's sort of like a transforming
Mhm.
vehicle that went from a spacecraft and now it's kind of like an aircraft.
Yep.
It's guiding itself.
When we're going slow enough, we deploy a parachute.
The biggest supersonic parachute we've ever sent to another planet. It's critical for slowing down the vehicle.
Perseverance's entry, descent, and landing borrows heavily from that of Curiosity.
But fundamentally, Perseverance is a different rover. She's bigger, she has different instruments.
We've added a lot of parts on the inside to make it more capable so that it can deal with the landing site that we've given.
The science
Control for an update from Swati.
Hi, Raquel.
Has helped shape the other, starting with the landing of the Pathfinder more than 20 years ago.
Okay, so things are happening.
Perseverance Deputy Project Manager
Looks like,
Jennifer Prosper has worked on every Mars rover mission, and she joins us now. Jennifer,
really
how
struggling
does
to focus when these
Perseverance
people
fit into the history?
So it looks like they've turned off the.
Thanks, Raquel. It's great to be here.
I think they said what it was. I can't remember, but they've
rover
successfully
on
had the
Mars, and I've had
confirmation
the
that
privilege
it
of working
has
on
turned
every
it
one of
off.
them. And the very first rover was the Sojourner
at the
rover
moment
we sent
it is
in
flying
1997,
on
and
its
it
own.
was the size of a
I've had to swap
microwave
cameras
oven. And
because
even at that
my
small
damn
size,
phone
Sojourner
died.
was
My
able
old
to
well,
transform
I'm
the
using
way
an
we
old
explore
phone
Mars from
as a webcam,
stationary landers
and the damn thing
to
died on me. So
small
I'm having to
roving
use my
robots
main
that go
phone
from place to place, just
to
like
do
a
it. So I'm just
geologist
sorting
would on
out
Earth.
the
So once we had that roving capability,
tripod.
then we sent our twin rovers Spirit
don't know where
and
to put you.
Opportunity. Spirit and Opportunity
I just
were
popped you
tasked
there where
with
the
finding
other one was,
evidence of
and
ancient
as soon as the
water
other
on
one's
Mars.
charged
Now,
up,
they
we'll
did. They're great explorers, and
bring
both
it
of them found
back. But
ample
I think
evidence that
the
water
quality
had
of this one is a
existed
bit
on the surface of
meh.
Mars. But we
Let's
had
have
a
a look.
question.
So look at the
Another
Switch
question
one.
then
It's not too bad. It's
Mars
a
ever
tad
habitable
big
if
grainy,
water
but
had
it's
been
not
there?
that bad.
And that's when we sent
So we'll just have to deal with
Curiosity.
this
Now,
one,
Curiosity was a major upgrade.
Don't think there's anything
to
I
our
can do
rover
about it.
fleet. She's the size of a small
No.
car.
No.
She landed with the sky crane system
No.
instead of air
Anyway,
cranes.
let's carry on listening
And
to
she
what
also
these
carries
people are
along
saying.
her own sample analytics lab, and she's
I need a
still
drink.
operating today. And during her exploration, she has found evidence of a habitable environment in an ancient lake bed on Mars. So now we're sending
can I have my root beer?
Perseverance is tasked with answering the question and looking for evidence of ancient microbial life on Mars.
Less than an hour to go. Less than an hour to go.
Speaking of Perseverance, can you tell us more about how Perseverance is smarter than its predecessors?
Yes, we've
Thank
made
you.
a lot of
Love
upgrades
you.
to help her along with the surface mission. One of them is for her autonomous traverse capability. When I say autonomous traverse, I mean we tell her where we want her to end up, and she has to figure out the safe and best way to get there. In order to do that, she uses her cameras, algorithms, a computer. So we've given her another computer, we've upgraded the cameras, and we've upgraded the algorithms. Now she drives 3 times as fast as Curiosity could drive in this autonomous traverse mode. In fact, her average daily distance for driving, about 200 meters, is close to the maximum distance any rover has ever driven in a day on Mars. So she's fast. Another thing that we've done, which
And
is
bear in
the
mind,
most
it's still
significant
slow.
upgrade that
We're not
we've
talking
made,
like.
is the sample caching
Yeah,
system
probably.
itself.
We're just probably talking like a nice
Curiosity
steady
has a robotic arm,
speed.
like Perseverance has a robotic arm, but on the end of Perseverance's robotic arm is a coring drill that will go and take rock cores, transfer them into sample tubes and into the rover, where another robotic arm will take those tubes, will seal them and store them, and eventually drop them on the surface of Mars for future return to Earth.
It poops.
And we also have a social media question about Perseverance.
It's gonna poop.
Erica AS on Instagram wants to know what the wheels of the rover are made out of.
Great question. Well, you may think we make them out of some material you've never heard of. It turns out they're made of aluminum. Now, Perseverance's wheels are a little thicker than Curiosity's, but they're
Curiosity's
actually both
wheels
made
are
out of aluminum.
damaged. They are
And
wrecked.
one more question for you. Can you tell us more about the importance of where you are right now in the building?
Yes, I am above, on the second floor, above the cruise mission support area
Fact.
that you've been watching. And this is the surface mission
You know what?
support
You know what I
area.
can
So
do.
as
You know what I
soon
can do.
as Perseverance lands,
I'm going
all commands,
to-
this room will take over. It will become headquarters
It's
for operating Perseverance on Mars.
Chrome.
Thanks for taking the time to
What
talk
I'm
to
gonna
us today,
do-
Jennifer.
Thank you.
I'm gonna add this
We
window.
now know Perseverance's place in history. Let's take an up-close look at the
Like I
rover
saw.
with Mars 2020.
But we're going to
system
shrink
test
it
bed
down
engineer Elio
so we can actually
Morillo.
see what is actually happening.
Thank you, Raquel.
We will pop
Standing in
it
front
in
of
the
the
bottom
Mars
corner
2020
there so you can see what's going on.
scaled model. As you can
And
tell,
we
this
will have a
vehicle
look
is
at
about the size of a Mini Cooper. These wheels are
Curiosity.
obviously
Now, I
black
can't
here, and they
remember.
look like rubber, but they're
What
actually
is
fully
that?
made of metal. These wheels are designed to
Oh,
allow
QR
us to climb
code
over
and send
obstacles
this
and, of
page.
course,
What's
climb
in
over
there?
hills and minimize the
Has
amount
Chrome
of
just
slipping
updated for
once
me?
we're traversing on the surface of Mars.
Anyway,
Here in the
I
front of the
did
rover, we
used
have
to
the sample
have
caching system, and of course, the very front end of this
the
is the
J.
robotic
I
arm.
did used
which
to have
this entire
JPL
system is
bookmarks,
arguably the
but
most
I don't
complex robotic
think I
system we've
have
ever
them
sent outside of Earth.
Oh, there we go.
Here at the tip of the arm, we have a turret which contains a suite of instruments along
So
with
this is
some
Curiosity.
drills and
So this
coring
is like
capabilities
the.
that will allow us to do
This is the day that
contact
Curiosity
science
sends
once
back
get
and
to
we
the
get to
surface of
see.
Mars. Not only that, this robotic
Every now
system
and
is equipped
again,
to
they
collect
tend
samples
to
about the size
put
of a piece of
photos
chalk that then
of,
eventually will be stored inside of the vehicle
of
and
Curiosity's
dropped off
wheels.
in a later location so that an eventual
They
mission
tend
can
to
go
look
and
at
return
the,
the
the
samples
state
to
of
Earth,
them, make
something
sure
we've
everything's
never
still
done in the
running
past.
all right. What is that?
Here in the front, we have the remote
Right
sensing
navigation
mast.
camera. Well, that's the image
Something
of the
of
right
note
navigation
is that
camera.
this mechanism is
Oh, that's
going to
bit that
bestow
looks
upon
like
the
the top.
touchdown on the surface
That
of Mars.
almost
And
looks
one of
like
the first
frost,
critical
doesn't it?
activities we do is deploy this mechanism.
It's not, but it
This
almost
mechanism
looks like
includes
frost.
several cameras that are going to give us some of the most breathtaking images we've ever taken on Mars.
Let's try
Along
that
with
again.
that, we have some lasers as well as a spectrometer. They're going to allow us to do some remote science. Here you see
It almost looks
some of
like
these
frost.
extrusions that are part of a larger weather suite of instruments that will allow us to
Oh, you
characterize
can
the
just
local
see the wheels
climate
there, but you
around
can't really see
Perseverance.
much
So
about
that's
it.
a quick tour of the rover, but I got to get back to work. So back to you.
I do like this. I used to come on this particular page all the time and look at these photos. Look at that. That's cool. Obviously, that's the sun. It's not going to be the moon.
Perseverance is collecting samples of Martian rock for future return to Earth. We've heard that scientists have been wanting to bring Martian samples back for many generations. And here to talk a little bit about that is NASA's
Very
Planetary
blurry wherever it
Science
is.
Division
I don't know
Director
what that is.
Lori Glaze, who joins us now to talk about the role Perseverance will play in NASA's future goals. Welcome, Lori.
Hi.
The Mars to export.
Now,
That's
as you just
cool.
heard, we've heard that scientists have been wanting to
I don't know
bring
what it
back these
is.
Martian samples for a very long time. Why do we need to bring them back?
That's cool.
Really a
I like that.
great question. You know, we actually have examples of Mars already here on Earth that came here as meteorites. But we don't know exactly where they came from on Mars, and then they also have had to make the trip from Mars to Earth. And
I'm,
so
I'm trying to find pictures of
during that
the
time, and
the
then
tires
during
of
their
the
entry and
tires.
descent
Trying to
into
find pictures
Earth's
of the wheels.
atmosphere, that also
See what
changes
the
those
damage
rocks
is.
are like. So being able to go
There's a
to
picture
Mars
of
and
one.
actually collect a sample
lot
where we
of-
know exactly where it came
lot of
from,
damage
and we
right
know
there.
we can
See, it's
preserve
like
it and
the-
keep it pristine and carry
It's
it all the way back
breaking
here.
away.
This will
I mean,
be
bear in mind how long
incredibly
this has actually
important to help
been
us
on
answer questions
Mars.
about
How long has it been?
the
It's been
geologic
about
history of
5.
Mars, understanding how it formed
Wait,
and evolved.
I'm trying to
and
think how
also
long it has
really important
actually been. It's
questions about whether or
been a
not
while. My
life
daughter's 8.
actually existed on Mars 3.5 billion years ago, and whether
So there's
that
the
life,
window,
if it
but I
existed,
can't
has been
think
preserved
for
in the
certainty.
surface
I
of
want to say
Mars.
5 years.
Now,
How
Lori, the
long?
sample tubes that Perseverance is going to be collecting, they're the cleanest things ever
Curiosity
created on Earth. Tell me a little
being
bit
on
about
Mars.
Oh my goodness, we worked so hard.
8 years.
The team here at JPL
Ha!
is
That's
absolutely
interesting.
incredible to assure that
Launch
those
from Earth on November
sample tubes
26,
are incredibly
2011.
clean. One of the main
So it
goals
happened
of this mission
after my
is
daughter
to
was born.
be able to detect if there's actual life
8
that's
years.
preserved.
8 years. I didn't think
ancient
it had
life
been 8 years.
preserved in those rocks, in
That's
those samples,
crazy.
and
8
we definitely
years.
don't want to be carrying, our own.
As long as my
DNA
daughter's been born,
off
that
to
thing
Mars
has
and then
been
bring
on
it back
Mars.
here to
Like,
confuse our
awesome.
scientists when they're trying to study those samples. So
Almost
going
gonna be the same as Liv.
Clean set of equipment that's been sent there, as you said, the cleanest
Almost.
thing we've ever sent into space.
Now, this is a very complicated campaign. Can you break down for us how it's going to work and if there's any international partners working with us?
You are correct. The Mars sample
Nuclear.
return campaign
Wait, is that missing a shield?
incredibly complex. In fact, it's probably the most challenging thing we've ever tried.
I thought that had a shield over the
but
back.
We're definitely not going to try and do it alone.
I didn't realise that was
great
exposed. I thought
partners
there was like a
with the,
casing.
European
Is that
Space
gone?
Agency. And the way this campaign is going to work, well, Perseverance is the first step.
I could have sworn that had a casing on the
is
back.
going to Mars and collecting the
The
samples.
Martians stole it.
Chapter 2 is going to be a sample return lander that we hope to launch in around 2026 to 2028. And that lander, it'll be an American lander carrying a fetch rover that's provided by European Space Agency.
ESA.
And the little fetch rover will drive out and pick up the samples that Perseverance left on the surface of Mars. And the fetch rover will bring them back and load them into a rocket that we call the Mars Ascent Vehicle, which will be the first ever launch from another planet. And it will launch those samples into orbit around Mars. In the meantime, the European Space Agency will have an orbiter that's in orbit around Mars that can rendezvous and capture those samples and then bring them back to Earth for us to study back here in our amazing laboratories.
I'm confused.
A lot of firsts, it sounds like, Lori. And another first, how is Perseverance and the Mars sample return mission going to help?
That sounds like a cop out. I thought it was us that was going to be collecting those samples and sending them back.
So glad you
Turns out it's going to be another rover designed by ESA, which is going to be sent there to collect these things, and then send them back to us where we can study them from here.
To us learning how to land humans on Mars, and then we are definitely going to want to be able to launch the humans back off of Mars. So that
just send Elon Musk. SpaceX will get there bloody quicker.
Launch from another planet.
So exciting, Lori. And speaking about the Mars generation, we're now going to take a student question for you from
I feel like I've already
Lydia.
looked at that image.
Hi, my name is Livia, and my question is, what made you want to study Mars, and why are you working so hard and willing to wait so long for a sample? Thank you.
Oh, Olivia, that is such a great question. And I enjoy Mars just because it can tell us so much about how our solar system formed and evolved. All of the planets can tell us different parts of that story, and Mars is a really key piece of that. And one of the main reasons we're willing to wait so long to get the sample back is that we've got great new scientists that are all about your age, and in about 10 or 15 or 20 years, you'll be the generation that's going to actually get to work with these samples. When they come back, you'll be the scientists and engineers that will be the next generation to change how we think about Mars and how we think about life in the solar system.
No, we want them to be the next generation of people that are moving beyond Mars.
Future little
Not just
scientists and engineers.
studying the rocks that are from Mars on Earth.
Back to you, Raquel, for another mission update.
Thanks, Marina. The cruise team for Perseverance controls the rover on its way to Mars.
It's got its name on it.
Ago, they handed it over to the
I knew
landing
that.
team,
Curiosity.
and it looks like team leaders in mission control are about to talk to both teams. So let's listen in.
The CBM change, as I mentioned previously, is to the EDL reserve to a non-coherent route.
Activity.
Copy flight.
EDL phase, go ahead.
I think I'd like to see have talk, I guess, to the team. Right. You know, I'm terrible at pep talks. I think my reputation precedes me there. And look, I know this hasn't been easy, right? I'm not even sure we've even been all in the same room at the same time. I mean, I'm staring at folks across the internet as well. Even now, right? Only. Yeah. Voice check. Okay. I do want to just extend my heartfelt appreciation from the EDL team to the launch cruise team. You've done everything we've asked for, right? I mean, you've battled anomalies, you've dealt with Cephis, you've done everything. You delivered a healthy spacecraft to the place that we want to go, and she's right on target, right? You did the last maneuver literally 2 months ago, right? This is pretty incredible, in my opinion. And she's armed with the right information to help us land. You know, doing the parameter update last night, we're ready to roll. You've done everything right. And you've put up with us too, right? You've put up with our eccentricities and the things we like to do in EDL land. So I very much appreciate that. So you all should sleep in on Friday, since you guys have earned it. Thanks for literally and figuratively putting us in the right position to succeed. And let's land on Mars together.
Copy EDL phase. And as flight director, I also would like to thank the whole team, cruise ops, EDL ops, EDL team, and the surface ops as well. It's been an amazing journey. I think we all know that. And it's been my honor and pleasure to work with you all side by side. And your tireless efforts and endurance in the face of our challenges has been truly, truly inspiring. So kudos to you. Mission, would you like to say something?
Yeah, just echoing the same words that Al and Magdi have mentioned. You guys have overcome great obstacles in the last 6.5 months, and it started with an earthquake in this room on launch day at L-20 minutes.
Oh, that sucks.
So I can't be more proud than all of the achievements that you guys have pulled off in the last 6.5 months. Whatever happens in the next hour and a half, you can be proud of the achievements that you've accomplished so far. I look forward to seeing you on the other side, and I only wish that the rest of our team could be sharing this moment with us. This is a very unusual event. This room is only half as full as it would be if we weren't in this pandemic.
Looks like they're all on the Zoom call.
Missing everybody from the team who's not with us here today. And go EDL.
Welcome to the EDL family.
Cool.
And with that, Godspeed, Perseverance.
Godspeed.
All right, activity. Go ahead and continue the report.
Sure thing, Flight.
Right.
We've since completed the
So
EDL
jump back to
anchor.
this now. See if we can
As I was
find
mentioning,
some
we changed our CBM row to EDL
things.
reserve two-way non-coherent. That row reinforces our CBM windows to
I guess
stable.
me saying people having a line tomorrow on Friday. However, I don't know if they still do this, but they did do it for curiosity. Each major, I think each major member of JPL had a watch.
Thank the cruise team for
Now we know that.
in guiding the
They all had a
Rover.
watch made, and
Now,
it
did
ran
you know the Rover
specifically
name
to
and
keep
Mars helicopter
track of
name
Mars
came from
time as opposed to
students?
Earth time, so
Well,
it
a
ran
couple
a
weeks
little
ago,
bit
Marina
slower.
was able to catch up with them.
So as time moved on, obviously eventually they would end up starting work at the night, leaving in the morning, and eventually they would start with the morning and leaving at night. So it's just it's mad that they made a watch just for that.
Submitted the winning essay that was selected by NASA from a field of more than 28,000 entries from K
What I
through 12
should
students
do
in every
is
state in the U.S. Vanessa Rupani's essay
do
for
that.
ingenuity was so compelling, NASA thought it would be a
Do that.
perfect name for the history-making helicopter, a technology demonstration carried aboard the Perseverance rover. Alex and Vanessa join us now. Welcome, you guys.
And then
Hello, space nerds.
hey, mean.
Now, you got to go to Florida and watch the launch live back in July. Alex, what were you feeling as you saw that rocket launch into the sky?
I read a log of books written by astronauts, and every single one of them always talks about the raw power behind the space launch.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely feel like watching the launch invoked that sense of inspiration mixed with anticipation, along with that rumble in my chest.
That's very inspirational, and I'm sure
Slap
that you
that
have
there.
had many conversations with your classmates since this all began. Now, what kind of questions have they asked you?
I got some people asking me about what this helicopter is, what this rover is, what are they actually going to do. So I love that this whole experience sparked a greater interest in the mission in my community.
Why do you think it's so important for kids to be inspired by space exploration?
Because space is the future, and kids are the future. Learning about space and watching the story of humanity spread to the stars happen is watching the future happen and seeing history unfold.
Well done, kid.
The best way to keep our home safe and protect our planet is to learn from the worlds around it. So I think it's really important for the next generation of scientists to be engaged in that type of exploration to make our home the best place it can be.
Now, speaking of the future, what has your life been like since naming the rover and helicopter? Has it sparked any future aspirations for the two of you?
Oh man, I am currently applying to a science and technology school for high school. I'm hoping for a NASA internship sometime along the way, with my ultimate goal being to join the incredible team of scientists and engineers who are about to make this happen.
This whole experience has definitely shown me that I want to go into the space industry. I came home from Florida, did all my college applications, and checked aerospace engineering on all the boxes. I mean, the whole time we were there, I was thinking, why would anyone want to do anything else?
So true, and the best of luck to both of you. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Alex and Vanessa.
Thank you for having us.
I should look at the ESA because they're actually
Now,
look
your
applicants to
essays,
be
as well as the top
astronauts.
155 finalist essays, are riding on the Perseverance rover, along with nearly 11 million of the names from all over the world that were submitted before launch. And if you miss the chance to get your name on Perseverance, then you will get another chance to reserve a spot on the
Employment
next
and
mission
support,
to Mars. So make sure that you sign up now at mars.nasa.gov for your boarding pass. As virtual celebrations are happening all
I
over
do
the
that.
globe,
I do
let's
that.
take a look at some of your submissions on our social channels, showing us how you're celebrating the Perseverance landing right now.
I won't
And
be on
remember
here.
to hashtag Countdown to Mars and send those in. We would love to show them off.
Yeah.
Look at these.
For a moment there, I thought that was me.
Everyone's watching it. A lot of classrooms are watching it. Oh, and great, someone did a Lego version of
That's cool.
Perseverance, which is awesome. It looks fantastic. We love getting all your pictures out there. We've gotten a lot of artwork from kids, which has been great. I know I have a 9-year-old John at home, and he loves to draw the rover. And look at that. That is awesome. That's better than anything I could bake, that's for sure. Perseverance in a cake. That looks so great. Delicious. I want to get into that. Another great send-in from David Bowie Reel. Thank you so much for your submissions.
Hey?
Remember, hashtag Countdown to Mars. We love to see
What?
how you're celebrating. Now, you might know our next guest from shows like Emily's Wonder Lab. Joining me now is Emily Calandrelli. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Now, you are very passionate about getting kids interested in science and space exploration. Why do you think kids are so excited about space?
Well, I know the reason I'm excited about space, and I think it's the same reason that many others are excited about space, and it's that the people and
I'm
the
a
space
tad
industry
confused
work
now.
to answer two of the biggest questions
So
that
apparently
humans
David,
have ever
the
asked.
David
Are
Bowie
we alone in the universe,
Twitter
and
handle
where did we all
is still
come
posted.
from? And by sending a rover to
The official
Mars,
one as
we
well.
are gaining
Yeah.
evidence for the answers to these questions, more evidence than we ever
I'm a
had
tad
before, and
confused
I
with
think
that one.
it's so exciting.
It is, and I know you get loads of interesting questions
Close
from
that one
kids.
off.
Have you gotten any about Mars specifically?
How's the stream doing? Stream's doing
loves Mars. It's
pretty
in
good in
movies
terms
and
of
books and TV shows, and everybody loves Mars. So one of the things that I get asked a lot is that, you know, it's called
terms
the red planet.
of
Why is it red?
in terms of
Well, it's
streaming.
red
I guess
because
it's not
literally
doing that bad.
rusty. The top layer of soil on Mars has iron oxide in it, or rust, and rust has that brownish
Yeah,
red
we seem to be
color,
doing
so
all right.
It's red
Seems
because
to be
it's
doing all right.
rusty. And also because it's red, they ask, is it red hot? Is it really hot on Mars? And
No.
well, no, actually, it's colder than the Earth. It's farther away from the sun. So as you would imagine, it's a little bit colder than the Earth. It also has a really thin atmosphere. So the heat that it does have, it has a hard time keeping in. And so it's a little bit colder. But then I also get asked, what would I weigh on Mars? That's a really fun question. So on Mars, it's a little bit smaller than the Earth, so the gravity there is weaker. It's about 3/8 the gravity that we have here on Earth. So if you weighed 100 pounds here on Earth, you'd weigh 38 pounds on Mars, or 100 kilograms here on Earth, 38 kilograms on Mars.
Those are all super fun. I think even some adults want to know the answers to those questions, Emily. Now, why do you think it's so important to educate kids about science and give them that great foundation?
Well, science is the language of nature, and learning about science and learning how to think like a scientist means you are learning how to systematically seek out truth in the world. You are learning the scientific method, you're learning how to be a critical thinker, and honestly, those skills are great for whatever you end up wanting to do in life.
True. If you want to be a scientist or an opera singer, that holds true. And what are you most excited about today?
I mean, humans are launching a robot to Mars. That doesn't happen every day. I think in all of the hecticness that is going on today and all of the nerves, I just hope everyone can take a moment to sit back and remember that we live in a time when humans have the ability to send a robot to another planet. And that's so cool to me.
It is very cool, Emily. Take a deep breath. Thanks for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
Sending it back to you now, Raquel.
Thanks, Marina. We are offering lots of ways to ride along with us to Mars. Now put yourself right into the action now with our Perseverance photo booth. You can pose next to the rover, place yourself in our mission control, and even see what you might look like taking a selfie on the red planet. There, you'll also have a chance to sign up to send your name to Mars on NASA's next flight to the red planet. It's all available at go.nasa.gov/Mars 2020 Toolkit.
Go.
And joining us now is JPL Chief Engineer and Landing Veteran Rob Manning. He will be breaking
Pretty
down
sure I've
key
already
moments
done
coming
this.
up, and very few people know
I'll have a
more
look in a
about
minute.
landing on Mars than Rob, going back to the
da, da,
Pathfinder
da.
mission in 1997.
Ah!
Thanks
Minimum
for
of a
joining us
master's
today,
degree.
Rob.
Well, we'll close that off because I don't have that.
for having me here. And what a wonderful experience. What a wonderful day for a
right.
beautiful day in California.
Sign up for the next flight. Find your boarding pass.
But very hopeful.
Rob, I have a question for you. There is a landing tradition at JPL that involves eating peanuts for good luck. Can you tell us how did that start?
Yes, it started in the mid-1960s. What happened?
Oh, that
was
one.
We had a series of missions that had failures. The Ranger program in the early 1960s, one after another,
I don't
failed.
need that
What
armor,
happened
so
was
that can go.
one day a fellow by the name of Dick Wallace on Ranger number 7.
Wait, what?
On the 7th attempt, decided to bring
Oh, hold on,
peanuts
hold on.
to the ops area just before the launch, and guess what? That mission worked. Now, we're not supposed to be too superstitious. We're engineers and scientists after all, but we love tradition. And ever since then, before launch and before critical events
Okay,
like
so
descent
that
landing,
that doesn't work, so that can actually go.
And it's been really a wonderful little
Bring that
experience.
back up there.
And so this is something we're doing right now, and it's something that we just can't help ourselves. It's just part of the
Get rid of that for a minute.
Oh, well, speaking of the experience, how did the Perseverance team keep the tradition alive this year?
Well, this year we're passed out little packets of peanuts to the team, and they can sneak one peanut in their mouth as part of to keep the tradition alive. But you know, this is part of the COVID experience, but we can't leave this one undone. So this is what we're doing, and this is going to help us land safely.
All right, thanks, Rob. I have some questions for you a little later on, but we're heading back to Swati Mohan, who is part of the landing team. She'll be calling out key milestone and events as they happen from Mission Control. So let's listen in right now.
Ooh.
So right now we're still about
Check it.
20 minutes from entry.
Yeah.
And the EL phase is giving
Boom!
last
My name is on the Perseverance rover.
confirmation
I'm on my way to Mars.
happening.
I got a lot of flying miles, but I can't use them.
Changes to the vehicle, just to remind the team.
Perseverance landing.
And this will
Which
allow
we're doing
us to
already.
steer
our
There was
trajectory,
more. I did
as
have
we
more. This
make our
wasn't
way
the
through
only
the
one. I've had a
atmosphere.
bunch of them done. Boarding pass, maps,
This is one of
frequent
the things
flyer.
that allowed
Flown with us
MSL,
before.
the Curiosity Rover,
If you registered to send your name to Mars and provided your
to land
email
where it
address,
did.
you have a frequent
So
flyer
we're depending on
account.
the same type of
Log in
entry
below to
guidance,
check your
this time
points.
around, to help
Boarding
get us very
pass.
close to our target. As we make our way through entry, finish our guided entry profile, we'll do a maneuver called heading line, where we point toward the target and get ready to deploy the parachute. But before we deploy the parachute, we need to get rid of a set of balanced masses that have been giving us a center of gravity, or CG offset, throughout the guided entry phase. So these are called the entry balance masses. We also call this maneuver SUFR, S-U-F-R, or straight
Ryan
fly
Insight,
right.
Sign up
So
for
we'll
the
go ahead
next
and
one.
eject those masses when we get a trigger from the GNC system telling us that we're at the appropriate range to the target to do so. As soon as we deploy those, we will no longer have a CG offset, and we'll be ready to deploy the parachute 17 seconds later.
Right where the Perseverance team is sitting now, what's in store for them as we approach landing?
I'm going to hold here for EDL prep as we're about to start that anchor.
I've added my names to the next future one.
And activity, please call that out when it's ready.
Close that one off now. Bring the window back up. I'm sure I was looking into something else. Latest images. Nope. Newest, oldest. Let's go 100.
Now, Rob, you've been right where the Perseverance team is sitting now. What's in store for them as we approach landing?
Well, this is the
page 1.
This is the nail-biting time. Fortunately, we still have ones and zeros coming, but very soon, as we approach cruise stage separation, the transmitter on this rover we've been using all the way to get to Mars is going to be turned off. So we will lose our ability to see ones and zeros. But the good thing is, once the cruise stage is gone, there's another radio that will continue transmitting a tone, so that like a flashlight that will allow us to at least see that the vehicle is still on, and that color of that flashlight tells us a little bit what state the rover's in. But soon after that, it won't be very long before we'll be able to hear more ones and zeros coming from the spacecraft. So this is a really exciting time, and it's just important to remind people there's a lot that can go wrong in a day like today. There are thousands of things that have to go right.
Yeah, we had success in the past landing on Mars. You'd think it
like a
gets
rubber
easier,
band.
but it really doesn't. Why is it still so difficult?
Well, it's because it's involved thousands and thousands of things.
That looks like a rubber band there.
There is
look, he's got
79 pyrotechnic devices
just down
which
there
have
as
to
well.
work perfectly. One critical wire short, or one key thing mechanism that doesn't work or breaks, and it's mission over.
I don't know what
so
that's
it's,
for.
You know,
What is that for?
And it's very easy. We're human beings. We're not perfect. Mistakes can be made. We each count on each other to find our own mistakes, and we work very hard to learn from the mistakes of the past. We've had many failures. Remind people, roughly half, around half of the missions to Mars over history have failed, and so that could happen today too. Even though we've had a nice, wonderful string of successes in the United States, it's still still a bit of a gamble that we have hoped that we have erred in the side of luck, and we've stacked the deck and loaded the dice to make this thing succeed. But if we do fail, if something bad happens today, I can tell you we're going to learn it. We'll have the data that tell us what happened. We'll know why. We'll figure it out, and if we are allowed, we will pick ourselves up and get us back on the horse. And if Congress and NASA allow, we will try again. As we always do, we will learn from our mistakes.
And what are the possible scenarios we could be looking at today?
Well, there's things like one of the key stressful elements for all of us is parachute inflation. But just even separating from the cruise stage is a pretty major event. Lots of devices have to work properly. Certainly, the heat shield separation, getting the descent engine started. There's no less than 16 rocket motors that have to work. 8 to control during entry, another 8 to control it during landing. I said it's a lot of stuff, and it all has to work. And guess what? We haven't done this before with this vehicle ever. This is its first attempt to actually land. We can't try this on Earth. We can't do. We don't.
It's the same with anything. It's the first attempt to land on anything on Mars. Everything you make is always the first attempt.
We can do in bits and pieces, but you know,
always going to be difficult. It's always going to be a challenge. You never know if it's going to work or not.
Our team is up to it. This team is the best. It's a diverse, intelligent, amazing group of people. People from all over the world who worked on this, not just here in California, but all over NASA, contributors from aerospace, universities, countries around the world. It is just an incredible, remarkable.
I've got some things I need to look at.
And I am just so proud of this team.
Thanks, Rob. Now, let's listen back into Mission Control.
Right, we're about 14 minutes from entry interface. The vehicle is currently preparing the heat rejection system that has kept the thermal system cool inside the air.
14 minutes to entry, and then.
This will allow the spacecraft to more easily comply in upcoming cruise stage separation, which is under 4 minutes now.
Getting close.
The Rover Pyro bus.
That's the pyrotechnic system that's
going to powering off the cruise stage devices.
And these are the things in the cruise stage that we no longer need. With the pyrotechnic system working, we can explode the devices.
The vehicle is preparing for the upcoming cruise stage separation in about 3 minutes 15 seconds by powering off all the devices on the cruise stage in order that they can be safe once the cruise stage is jettisoned.
Yeah, this cruise stage has been very reliable.
We are firing our first pyros to vent the HRS liquid and gas.
This has been the coolant that's kept their vehicle from getting too hot on the way to Mars. We have to vent it into space. And this is one of the first major events that take place as part of entry, descent, landing.
The HRS vent anchor is complete.
Yes.
We will see the next anchor in approximately 3 minutes.
Okay.
We are currently 12.5 minutes from entry interface. We are coming upon cruise stage separation in 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
What's happening now, Rob?
Okay, well, we're just waiting. The Rover is completely in charge. It's doing all the things we've taught it how to do. It's all built into the software. We've tested it over and over and over again. This team has spent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, testing this thing for years, and so this is really the culmination of all that work. So this vehicle is getting ready to push that cruise stage away. Once it gets pushed away, the entry system with the rover inside, with the rover still in charge, is going to get ready to take the vehicle, turn it to the right orientation, and aim it to Mars, and prepare for entering the atmosphere.
Nerves.
This won't be long. Be prepared for this event.
We're about 1.5 minutes from cruise stage separation, about 11 minutes 20 seconds from entry interface.
Okay, so it's about 10 minutes from cruise stage separation till entering the top of the atmosphere.
That's about right. 7 minutes of terror. So 10 minutes to go. 7 minutes until we find out if it lands or not. So 17 minutes in total. That's pretty much it.
Oh, confirming that the spacecraft has switched to broadcasting tones. These tones are received directly from Perseverance, but have very limited information content. We won't receive real-time information until about...
He looks concerned.
9-10 minutes from now, once the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter starts relaying information from Perseverance.
Yeah, she looks concerned.
We are under 1 minute from cruise stage separation, about 10.5 minutes from entry interface.
It's getting exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I must admit, I am quite anxious. but very hopeful that this machine is going to do what we asked it to do.
You're seeing the heartbeat tones.
Okay, that means that there's no more ones and zeros coming. It's just the vehicle telling us it's still alive.
That's crazy. Is there an animation that I could...
We're continuing to receive tones from Perseverance, standing by for cruise stage separation.
Was it 16? Yeah, pretty much. I pretty much got that timed up pretty well. Toolkit, events. Can I click that? What's that going to do? Watch online. Landing updates.
We have indication that cruise stage separation has been confirmed by the spacecraft.
Oh. I think that's where it was. It's...
In about 1 minute, Perseverance's landing software will wake up and begin the final preparations for entry. The first action it will do is to fire warm-up pulses with its entry thrusters. These pulses ensure that the spacecraft gets the thrust that it wants during entry interface. We're about 9 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, so now the vehicle's on its own. It's turning itself into the direction of facing the heat shield toward Mars, and will eventually hitting the top of the atmosphere. We're not far away. This is going to go very quickly from here.
That's confirmation that we got shadowed by the cruise stage as it passed through our beam to the Earth.
And the Tesla Roadster just comes out of nowhere and smashes it out.
Actually, that we could see a signal that the cruise stage went between the Perseverance entry capsule and Earth.
There it is. Look. Oh, so it didn't have a case in there. Oh, it did have a case. I mean, I know this isn't Curiosity, but
we have confirmation that the vehicle has started warming up those entry thrusters.
Where's my name?
Warm-up pulses have begun.
Under here is where the drone is.
At this point, the spacecraft is trying to stop its spin from the cruise 2 revolutions per minute down to 0, and then will turn to its desired orientation from entry. It will separate the 2 balance masses that have kept it balanced during all of cruise. This will allow the entry capsule to have lift when it enters the atmosphere. We have confirmation that the spacecraft has turned to the desired entry attitude. We're about 7.5 minutes from entry interface.
I want that. I want that animation. I want that.
Pointed in the right direction. The thrusters are warmed up and doing their job. And now we've spun down from the 2 revolutions per minute that the vehicle had the whole way to Mars. It was a spin-stabilized spacecraft. And then from here on out, it's going to just be a bullet, and it's going to control its orientation and attitude via rockets on the back of that back shell.
Points carrier lock. Sorry, the DTE from Radio Science from Greenbank reports carrier lock. You see the carrier on the downlink.
Flight level 1.
We are continuing to wait for entry interface. We're about 6 minutes and 45 seconds from entry interface. We have confirmation from Greenback that they are receiving direct-to-Earth telemetry via that path. The spacecraft Perseverance is currently transmitting heartbeat tones. These tones indicate that Perseverance is operating normally and has nothing significant to report. This is as expected. We're currently just over 6 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, and now we wait.
Her face does not fill me with confidence at all. She seems very worried.
At the top of the atmosphere, it will be very quickly, which is the entry point.
It's like she just seems to be like, did you see that? Did you see that?
The atmosphere
see that?
will start getting thicker and thicker. It's going very quickly at a fairly steep angle of 15 degrees into the atmosphere, and as it starts to slow down.
Just under, we're about 5.5 minutes from entry interface. We're still receiving heartbeat tones. We expect to continue receiving heartbeat tones until about 5 minutes after entry. At that time, Perseverance will be no longer in view of our antennas here on Earth. About 90 seconds prior to entry, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter...
I know she's probably just really focused on what she's trying to do and trying to get her words out at the same time while trying to make sure everything, all the information that is coming up on her screen is correct.
Such as when we have
But she does not fill me with confidence. It's almost like she's like, yeah, everything is fine. Don't worry about it, everything's fine. I know she's not doing that, but that's almost what it's like.
telemetry until about 90 seconds after landing. A plasma blackout is when the signal from Perseverance isn't strong enough to make it through the superheated, super fast air flowing around the spacecraft all the way down to Earth. Once the temperature drops below that peak heating, we do reacquire the signal from Perseverance. We are currently about 4.5 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance continues to report heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
Okay, what we're looking for now is Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should be in view soon of our vehicle.
Atmospheric entry.
Listen to ones and zeros coming from a separate radio that's really designed to talk between spacecraft.
Hey?
Camera reports the electro radio is
Not quite. It's not into the atmosphere yet. It's about 4.5 minutes.
And waiting for the
I think. I don't know.
The Reconnaissance Orbiter has reported that it's ready to receive the signal from Perseverance. It should be in a few minutes here. We're just
Flight Local 1
from entry interface.
We don't need these ones and zeros, as Swati said, but to land safely. But we really need it for our own.
I think the timing that I have is for when it actually is supposed to land on Mars. When it's supposed to touch down and be there.
From Perseverance, and we'll continue to record that telemetry until several minutes post-landing. We won't get that data for several hours after landing as it's being recorded and then will be forwarded to Earth later. We are continuing to receive heartbeat tones, indicating that everything is nominal. We're currently at about 3 minutes until entry interface.
Okay.
Peak heating, peak deceleration, parachute deployment, so Perseverance landing milestones we need to look into as well now.
Radio on the rover.
Just seeing if there's anything else I can get up on the screen that we can keep his eye on as well.
The entry interface is nothing more than just an arbitrary place in the sky that we've defined to be above the atmosphere. But from that point on, there's definitely atmosphere, and above it there isn't.
We are 2 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance is to transmit heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
Okay.
So the tones can tell us whether something's bad or not is happening. So far the heartbeat is doing well. So the vehicle thinks it's in good shape to land.
So the animation that I want to put on, I can't find it. That's not to say it's not there, but I can't find it myself. It would be nice to actually have that on so we can actually see what's going on as well. But I can't find it. So at this point in time, we're probably just gonna have to wait.
We're just under 2 minutes from entry interface. As it gets closer to Mars, Perseverance is actually being pulled in by gravity and accelerating. By the time Perseverance reaches entry interface point, she should be going just under 5.4 kilometers per second.
So at the moment we've done cruise stage separation. That's step 1, which is the little animation where the backing comes off of the off the, well, I don't know what they call it. Let's call it the ship, the casing, the housing that holds Curiosity inside Perseverance. And then step 2 is the atmospheric entry, which is currently what the timer is at the bottom right of the screen there. If I just knock off that, there you can see atmospheric entry. And then step 3 is peak heating, so that's I'm guessing it's the max heat that the craft is going to endure. And then it's obviously then you're going to get peak deceleration, so that's as slow as it's going to get before they need to slow it down with the parachute, which is the parachute deployment, which is step 5. Heat shield separation comes off at step 6. Radar lock at step 7. Terrain and relative navigation solutions step 8.
That The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is now relaying data from Perseverance.
Back shell separation.
30 seconds from entry interface. Perseverance is going
God, here we go.
5.2
Back shell separation, which is the back, obviously the back shell of it all.
Above the surface of Mars.
Power descent, which is the crane, I believe, is when it slows down with the crane, and then the crane then lowers it down on its cables, and then touchdown hopefully. 9 seconds.
5.3 kilometers per second and an altitude of 150 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Right, I'm going to turn this bit off here so we can actually see a bit more. Oh God.
We have confirmation of entry interface. Perseverance is currently going 5.3 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 120 kilometers from the surface of Mars. The spacecraft is now waiting until it begins feeling the atmosphere of Mars slow it down. Once there is enough atmosphere, it will start controlling its path to the landing target.
I don't know what my time is because I'm currently past. We're gonna have 5 minutes left.
Also confirming that we can see a little bit of that slowdown of the atmosphere on the Perseverance entry capsule.
We've got the peak heating and the peak deceleration to
Current
come next.
velocity is about 5.36 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 67 kilometers from the surface.
We are probably seeing MRO plasma blackout at this point.
The vehicle should be doing its turns right now.
MRO has lost lock.
Perseverance. We have indications that Perseverance is now performing bank reversals in the atmosphere. These are the steps in order to control its distance to the landing target. Perseverance has just passed through the point of maximum deceleration and has indicated that it felt approximately 10 Earth Gs of deceleration.
MRO has lock again.
So just got the parachute to deploy next.
Of the UHF telemetry from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter.
This is bad because the parachute has the potential of shredding.
Perseverance is still
just tearing itself apart. If it tears itself apart, then it's done. It's done for.
Its distance to the landing target.
Oh God. Feel the tension in the room.
Perseverance is going about 1 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 16 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have entered heading alignment, which means Perseverance is no longer trying to control the distance to Mars, but to the target on Mars, but instead is flying straight to the target.
Ooh. I'm shivering.
Our current velocity is about 550 meters per second at an altitude of about 15 kilometers from the surface.
I can only assume that they're guessing at this point because they can't know. Where does the 7 minutes of terror come into it?
We are coming upon the straighten up. We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver, where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance masses in preparation for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground. The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
So the parachute has deployed. Heat shield separation apparently as well. So fingers crossed that holds, it's not damaged.
It has now slowed to subsonic speeds and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface.
Okay.
Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9.5 kilometers above the surface.
See, the parachute doesn't have enough power to actually slow it completely down. So that's where the sky crane comes into it. Remember they used to do this with airbags. Airbags.
Yes, yes, yes.
Radar lock.
Now has radar lock on the ground.
I know before she does at this point.
6.6 kilometers of the surface.
You what?
Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are
Oh, that'll be wild.
on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers. We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of
Just gonna give it a quick refresh.
navigation. We have timing of the landing engines.
The back shell.
Is 83 meters per second.
Powered descent.
6 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
TRN Safety Bravo.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars.
Rover separation
We have
sky
started
crane.
Constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver.
We've lost direct to Earth tones.
As expected. As expected.
Sky crane maneuver has started. About 20 meters off
It's
the
looking
surface.
good. It's got to be a touchdown. It's got to be. I can't see how this was going to fail at this point. Got to be.
We're getting signals from MRO.
UHF is good.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life. At this point, the descent stage has flown away to a safe distance. Perseverance is continuing to transmit direct through Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to Earth.
That's 2 for 2 in those sort of rovers then.
Oh my God. Oh. Oh.
MRO reports they're still getting telemetry from the lander.
All right, all stations.
We got it.
Touchdown confirmed. We're going to wait for the images.
I guess we'll turn off the
This is so
countdown.
exciting. The team is beside themselves. It's so surreal. Stay tuned. We might get some pictures.
Great.
So much has been riding on this.
Yeah, we just heard the news that Perseverance is alive on the surface of Mars.
It's not
Flight, we have seen the completion of EDL 3000.
Copy activity. That is as expected.
MRO is still seeing a strong signal from the lander.
We have just heard the news that Perseverance is alive on the surface of Mars. Congratulations to the mission. And looks like we have some more news in. It looks like we're getting the first image.
Nice.
Here, take a look at the first image.
It's going to be very, very small though.
Flight, this is OL3. I have the target point on the map when you are ready. We are ready, OL3. Go for it.
How close? Well, he's landed, but did he land where they wanted it to?
Flight, I'll be moving in, showing you the safe zone that we've landed in.
Has just put the first image from Perseverance on the surface of Mars. Now, it comes from the engineering cameras, known as the hazard camera. This camera is mainly used to help the rover drive safely around Mars, and we will get higher resolution photos later in the day.
I wonder if I can look at that now.
This is amazing.
It's going to be interesting to see if Ingenuity runs.
For Steve. Stand by for Steve.
There's me thinking I was going to have a message from Chris.
You did it. You did it. You did. You led the team. You made it happen. Congratulations.
We just got our second image in. Our second image is in.
Okay, these we have a camera in the front and rear of the spacecraft. They're near the ground, so these are pretty close. You can see the wheels there, and they're a little dirty because we've got glass covers over these cameras. But we took these seconds after landing, so there's still dust in the air from our landing event. So this is happening. This happened just seconds ago. Just arrived, and this is really amazing. And we even know where we landed. This is the most amazing thing. The vehicle has told us where it's landed because it figured it out. This is a sign. NASA works. NASA works. And when we put our arms together and our hands together and our brains together, we can succeed. This is what NASA does. This is what we can do as a country on all of the problems we have. We need to work together to do these kinds of things and make success happen.
Oh man, that's going to be a ways away, the post-landing briefing. In terms of time, anyway.
Joining us now is the acting administrator of NASA, Steve Jurasik. Steve, welcome and congratulations.
Hey, thank you. What an amazing day.
How does it feel to have another rover on Mars?
It's amazing. To have Perseverance join Curiosity on Mars.
Coming soon, images from Perseverance rover. Give them to me now.
Credit to the team. I mean, just what an amazing team to work through all the adversity that goes and all the challenges that go with landing a rover on Mars, plus the challenges of COVID and just an amazing accomplishment.
And what does this mean for NASA and its future plans?
So for robotic exploration, every time we execute a mission with new instruments, we discover new things and things we never thought we would discover. So that always informs our future robotic missions, both landers, rovers, and orbiters. This mission also has technology on it. One of the cool things is the Ingenuity helicopter. It's an experiment on this mission. But if it's successful, we can use it as an science observation platform by putting instruments on it, and also use it as a scout for future rover missions, and then just the entry, descent, and landing capability.
Distance remaining
it'll
0.
allow us to land more and
Trip completion 99.99%.
On the surface of Mars, and then for human exploration. We have the Mars Entry, Descent, and Landing Instrumentation, which is going to give us EDL information. We have the Mars Environmental Dynamics Analyzer. It's going to give us properties, size and properties of dust particles, because when we send people, we're going to have to deal with that dust. This is just an incredible mission because of the science and the technology, and then caching samples for a Mars sample return mission. That will be an amazing mission, the first round trip to Mars and back, and bringing those samples cached by Perseverance back to Earth to examine with state-of-the-art equipment in our laboratories here on Earth.
We have so much to look forward to. And we also have a student question coming in from Landon. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Landon Applegate. I'm in 6th grade, and I'm going to Academy for Academic Excellence. And my question is, do you think we could get resources from Mars to help on future missions, or even as like a launching point?
Great question, Landon. Actually, we have an experiment called the Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, or MOXIE, and it's going to demonstrate generating oxygen from atmospheric CO2. And that could help generate breathable oxygen, and even if we can liquefy it, oxidizer for propulsion systems. So that's a tech demo on Perseverance. And then we're going to continue to characterize the frozen water on and below the surface of Mars, and eventually try to figure out how to extract that water from the Martian soil, or what we call regolith. And then we can use that for potable water and also break it down into oxygen and hydrogen for rocket fuel. So absolutely, we're going to try to eventually figure out how to live off the land to support human missions to Mars.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today, Steve.
Thank you.
And now that Perseverance has safely touched down on Mars, let's learn more about what's in store for the rover. Joining us now is Surface Mission Manager Jessica Samuels. Jessica, your surface operations team has now taken over. What are they doing now?
Yes. Hi, Raquel. We are so excited here in the Surface Mission Support area. The team will do a handover with the Entry, Descent, and Landing team and pass any critical information, and then this team behind us will be the team that does the health and safety assessments daily as we progress on this mission.
And what do the upcoming weeks look like for your team?
So as we enter Mars time now, the commanding team will be working overnight while the rover is asleep so that we can perform the initial checkouts of our key rover functions and our science instruments. And we have to do this all in time for the regularly scheduled communication pass, which happens in the morning. And so we will be working around the clock, making sure that Perseverance is healthy, and we will begin this exciting adventure.
And can you tell me, what's it like living on Mars time?
It's a little bit like constantly, flying and changing your time zone. The rover, on Earth, the rover wakes up at the same time every day, but on Earth, that's 40 minutes later. So the team is going to be shifting our work schedule by 40 minutes as we come into work over the next few weeks. So it'll be exciting and some late nights, but we're also excited and we can't wait.
It's a whole new lifestyle.
Yes.
We also have a student question for you. This is Sophia's video.
Hi, my name is Sofia Lopez, and my question for NASA is, how's Perseverance gonna survive? And here's a drawing that I made from Perseverance thinking about Earth. Thank you.
Well, Sophia, Perseverance survives with a power source that charges its batteries overnight while it sleeps, and it keeps heaters on so that all of our critical electronics can stay warm, as well as our mechanism. But it's really survived by the team that performs the health and safety assessments every day and communicates with the rover and makes sure that she's doing okay.
Well, thanks for your time, Jessica, and good luck living on Mars time.
Thank you. Should be fun.
Let's head back to Marina as she gives us a sneak peek into the future at JPL.
Thanks so much, Raquel. It's definitely bustling behind me. It's not quiet like it was just 20 minutes ago. And congrats to the whole team. What an amazing accomplishment. Mike Watkins is the director of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He was the mission manager during the Curiosity rover landing on Mars. Welcome, Mike.
Oh, thanks. Glad to be here. You can see all my mask markings on.
Well, you were just celebrating, and rightly so. Now, you've been around for a number of Mars landings. What makes this one special?
Well, you know, two things. I mean, it's the biggest and best rover we've ever sent to Mars, and it can really, you know, do amazing things in terms of, you know, its own scientific exploration of this habitable environment, you know, at Jezero. But, you know, it's also, as you've heard today, you know, it's the first step in Mars sample return. So really, you know, it's not only doing its own mission, it's setting us up for a series of missions and to bring those samples back. And, you know, a lot of the effort to develop the rover was specifically designed, you know, for that sampling and caching system. It's one of the most complex robotic systems ever made. And, you know, having it down safely means Mars sample return continues right on course, and we are moving forward.
Wonderful. Now, JPL has a long history with robotic space exploration. Why do you think it's so important to continue to push those boundaries?
You know, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, obviously, you know, for places that are far away like Mars and even farther away, you know, like Europa, right now robotic exploration is the only way we can make those scientific discoveries and really understand these early habitable environments. In the case of Europa, maybe it's even still habitable. And, you know, we're not ready to go there with astronauts yet, but the robots are ready to go there. And so we always, you know, are forerunners and pathfinders of human exploration. And we start by sending, you know, our eyes and arms there in the form of a robot. And it is just fantastic to be able to do that and to learn from each rover, learn from the science and the engineering and make the next one better and make more and more discoveries. And every time we do one of these missions, we make fabulous discoveries. And you know, each one is more exciting than the last.
The future does look exciting. Now, as director of JPL, what would you like to say to those teams right now celebrating?
Oh, you know, obviously they have earned it. Let me tell you. I mean, they have worked, you know, for years and years on this mission, and then in the past year, of course, we had the COVID experience, and you know, I want to thank not only the team but also, you know, all of JPL. You know, a lot of folks had to pitch in here, you know, in terms of making sure our remote telework, you know, our IT systems were good enough to support folks working from home. You know, all of the folks looking at PPE and our safe distancing and reconfiguring facilities to make them safe for the employees. It's just an incredible amount of work by the entire lab, and of course, especially by this team. And you know, and in one sense, you know, the 7 minutes of terror are very exciting. But on the other hand, you know, the mission's just started, right? We built the mission, you know, not to land, but actually to drive and get the samples and do other technology, you know, demonstrations. And so, you know, for much of the team, you know, this part of the mission's over, but for most of the team, the mission's really just starting. And so, you know, I think they're very excited, but, you know, everybody, I think, can take a deep breath and a sigh of relief now that we are safely down on the surface.
Yes, that collective sigh of relief, and I hear a lot of excitement and celebration behind me as well. So thanks so much for joining me, Mike.
It's my pleasure, and thanks to everyone for joining us, too.
Congrats again to the Mars 2020 Perseverance team for a successful landing. Back to you, Raquel.
Now, there will be a flight test coming up for the Ingenuity Mars helicopter, and if this technology experiment is successful, it would mark the first time we have taken a power-controlled flight on another planet.
Sometimes you have to do something just to show that you can do it. When the Wright brothers flew for the first time, they flew an experimental aircraft. And in the same way,
when are they doing that?
The Mars helicopter is designed to show that we can fly powered helicopter flight in the Martian atmosphere.
Launch crews approach, entry descent, instrument check first, drive.
From day one, this was the unwavering dream of our team, to get our helicopter launched to Mars so that we can get that opportunity to do that very first rotorcraft flight test in the actual environment of Mars.
When?
It's extremely difficult to fly at Mars because the atmosphere is so thin. Compared to Earth, at Mars it's less than 1%. So the first and foremost challenge is to make a vehicle that's light enough to be lifted. And then the second is to generate lift. The rotor system has just been very fast. 2,000, 2,200, 2,400, 2,600. We're spinning between 2,000 and 3,000 revolutions per minute, and it takes a lot of energy. So it's that balance of a very light system, yet having enough energy that's needed to spin the rotor so fast to lift, and on top of it, having to design in the autonomy.
It has to be fully autonomous from the time it takes off to the time it lands. What we do on the ground is we plan the flights, and so we determine from here where we want the helicopter to go.
Our experiment window is 30 Martian days. So we have planned up to 5 flights of incremental difficulty.
The very first flight, the main thing is we want to get the legs off the ground, and so we will basically go up about 3 meters, and we'll hover there, and then we'll come down again, and that will be the first, really major milestone.
Most of our flights will be at the 3 to 5 meter height. We will be going horizontally again at a few meters per second, probably go out, 50, 70 meters and come back. In successive flights, we'll probably push that further, try to go further. So our priority will be to get back engineering telemetry and not so much images, but I'm sure we'll return a few, because they'll always look cool.
At this point, we've tested all we can on Earth. We have mathematical models that shows how it will fly at Mars, and we've tested it in the simulated environment that we can create on Earth. It really is time now to do the real flight test at Mars.
Nothing is a given, but we have done everything we can in terms of a test program here on Earth. The vehicle's performing extremely well so far. It's been doing exactly the right thing, even right now when it's bolted onto the Perseverance rover. So there's a very good chance that we'll pull it off, yes. But it's still high risk. And none of us forget that you could have a glitch that, could mean end of mission, yes.
It's going to be exciting, reacting to any surprises we have. We can't wait.
Look where it's actually bolted. It is literally on the belly. I thought it might have been in a little compartment, but no, it's literally on the belly.
That we want to introduce into space exploration.
Mimi Ong is the project manager for Ingenuity. She joins us now as they await a chance to check out their helicopter in the coming days. Welcome, Mimi.
Oh, days.
Thank you, Marina.
Oh my goodness, we've been talking about this for months, Mimi. Did you ever think you'd be here at this point? I mean, what's going on in your head right now?
What's the press kit?
This is super exciting. We have been working on Mars helicopter for over 6 years, testing and carefully designing it for operation at Mars. So what's going through my mind? Ingenuity Mars helicopter is finally at the destination that it is designed for.
2 cameras, 1 color with a
Ingenuity
horizon-facing
Mars,
view,
what is the timeline
or
you
terrain
hope to
images, and 1
accomplish
black
as you
and
move
white camera
forward?
for navigation.
We have a series of major milestones between now and Ingenuity's first flight. So tomorrow we'll turn on the helicopter and its base station to confirm health after experiencing the dynamics through the EDL just now. And the next major milestone will be when the rover deploys the helicopter to the surface. And that marks the first moment that Ingenuity operates on its own in a standalone manner. And surviving that first cold, frigid night of Mars will be a major milestone. We'll execute a series of checkouts, and then we will perform that very important first flight. And if the first flight is successful,
If that's
we have
like
up to
a
4
scale model
flights
behind
in
it.
the 30 Martian days that we have set aside for our flight experiments.
And that's when you finally can breathe, right, Mimi? Now, why is it so important to have that aerial dimension to space exploration?
A helicopter flying far ahead of rovers and astronauts in the future can provide high-definition reconnaissance information for the rovers and the astronauts before they take the long
Will
journeys.
attempt
And
up to
as
5
importantly,
testing
being able to
flights
fly
within a
will
30
enable us
Martian
to
day,
get to
31
places that we cannot
Earth
get
day
to with
demonstration
rovers and
window.
astronauts, like sites of steep cliffs, deep inside crevices, areas of high scientific interest. It will be game-changing.
Game changing is right, and we've talked about this a lot. You've mentioned the risk is huge, Mimi, but the reward is high. What will be your greatest reward?
You know, our team started with the question of whether a helicopter can fly at Mars, given the extremely thin environment. And we systematically demonstrated a series of technical steps. We demonstrated lift first, and then we demonstrated lift and the first ever powered control rotorcraft flight in simulated Mars atmospheric density. And then we went on to build the full-up helicopter that can not only fly, but operate and survive autonomously at Mars, all under 1.8 kilograms, about 4 pounds. And each of these major milestones have been a first. And the success at each of these has been so rewarding. And along the ways, the rewards just kept coming. And I have to tell you, at this moment, it's going up exponentially. So after all these tests, analysis, simulations, and more tests on Earth, our team now gets the chance to test, prove, and learn how it works in the actual environment of Mars. Our team can't ask for a bigger reward than that.
Oh, Mimi, I'm so happy for you and your team. And now we're going to take a question from social media on Instagram for you. At Not Vibhuti asks, is the helicopter going to be doing science?
Well, the helicopter Ingenuity is a technology demonstration, and we are demonstrating the ability to fly and learning how to fly for the very, very first time. And so this is a technology demonstration and a pathfinder for future larger rotorcraft, future missions that will carry much larger instruments. So on this mission, we're not doing any science. We're concentrating on engineering data. How did the vehicle perform? And as you saw Bob Belram in the video before, we will be taking a few first ever color pictures from the flying aerial vantage point, but they'll be icing on the cake. For this one, this is all about engineering data and how do we fly compared to all our tests we have done on Earth.
Mimi, so much for your team and the future generations of scientists and engineers to look forward to.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mimi, and good luck to your team with that first test flight.
Thank you so much.
Now, we look forward to the Perseverance rover and Ingenuity helicopter beginning their journeys on Mars as their adventures are just about to start. Go Perseverance and go Ingenuity. Back to you, Raquel.
Thanks, Marina. Landing on Mars is never easy, but this team has persevered, and NASA's 5th rover is on the red planet. You can still hear them buzzing in the back right now. And to get the latest updates on Perseverance as it explores Mars, follow at NASA Persevere on Facebook and Twitter. I'd like to thank everyone watching for joining us today. And to the students and teachers tuning in, we hope you learned a lot from today's landing, and thank you for all your questions. We have a news briefing coming up at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time. That briefing will wrap up the day and include reactions from Perseverance team members.
And I'll
we'll
be in
leave
bed.
you now with some of the landing celebration photos you've shared with us, set to Youngblood's cover of David Bowie's Life on Mars. I'm Raquel Villanueva. Thanks for watching.
We're not gonna play that just because copyright and I don't want to get flagged. But anyway, that is it for the landing on Perseverance. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. If there's more things like that come up, like SpaceX and stuff, we'll probably end up. We might end up following those as well. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.